All right, this is a very important continuing conversation because me and Jim are going to make some serious confessions and admissions that you may have never have heard gamers say before. Before we get to our confessions, I'm Michael Dismuke. I'm a freelance writer for Star Trek Adventures RPG, a blogger on continuing Missions, which is the #1 RPG for Star Trek Adventures and Captain's Log, and I'm the lead writer on Captain's Log Solo RPG. And we have with us, of course, the unforgettable Jim Johnson.
Hey everybody, Jim Johnson. I'm the project manager and line editor for the Captain's Log Solo RPG and the Star Trek Adventures. Boy, I've lost track of what I am, what I do. It's been a while. Jim Johnson. I'm the project manager and line editor for the Star Trek Adventures RPG and the Captain's Log Solo RPG. Both published by Midiphius Entertainment. Lo these many years. We are starting year 8 now, so we're just cranking on here. I know it's we're recording this first week in November, and 2023 is coming to a rapid close here, which is hard to believe and hard to imagine. But here we are, and I'm also co-host of this here show with Michael. 100+ episodes. We had our 100th episode extravaganza not too long ago, so hopefully you had a chance to check that out. If not, the recording is available, so go do that. And we are here with a very special episode of Continuing Conversations.
And what it is, basically me and Jim have talked about it offline before, where we are victims of our own success, especially Jim, right? So Jim, just tell me, just so that we can frame this conversation, when was the last time you actually got to play in an RPG game?
Actually play, so not being a game master, like actually playing in something?
Either or.
Well, it's been a year plus since I last game mastered anything, and the last thing I game mastered was Star Trek Adventures. And playing, I think the last time I played anything was it was when Troy ran the one shot of his 2D20 World Builders game, which was called Ashland.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ashland. I'm pretty sure it's Ashland.
It's Ashland.
It is.
Remember. It's totally Ashland. Yeah.
And then right before that, Al ran me in Sentience, which was awesome. Both of those were awesome, fun games. Because I think I did those after we did our last session of Captain's Log on our collaborative thing, which is what we're here to talk about.
Right, and so what I want to admit is I haven't been able to play RPG for about 6 weeks, and the reason why is because I get the privilege of doing work for STA. I have some personal projects going on. Also, real life happens at work, and I run out of time. And so this episode is a get real episode with all of our fans who tune in for the show, because sometimes that happens. And if you've been tuning into Continuing Conversations for a while, you know that myself and Jim, coming out of the excitement of Captain's Log, we started the adventures of the USS Saratoga. I think we did 2 or 3 episodes. We did one session 0 where we set up the characters, and then we did 2 episodes of us walking through the scenes. Yep. And that's been 2 months since we've done that by the time we're recording this. And so when myself and Jim got on tonight, honestly, we got on like, what happened? What were we doing? Who are our characters? And we want to talk about honestly that this can actually happen. And what's funny, this actually happened in my personal solo RPG game too, because what happened is I again got into a break and I was rolling and then narrating and rolling the narrating. That really slowed me down. And so we're going to talk tonight honestly about this situation, right, Jim, and how we can get around this.
Absolutely. And just, like Michael, you just shared a personal anecdote for me. This made me feel like a player. Because like when I was running Star Trek Adventures for a while, I mean, even other Star Trek games prior to Star Trek Adventures coming out, I as a game master, I was always really good about recording our sessions. I had a little dinky, news reporter style digital voice recorder that I couldn't plug into my computer, right? I had to listen to it and dictate, or I had to listen to it and transcribe. But anyway, so I had historically I would record all my sessions, and then invariably my players would come to the next session and be like, what happened last session? What did we do? What was going on? It's like, well, I put the recording up online for you to go listen to, and I also published a transcript on there so you can go look. You could look. Did you not look at any of that stuff? Of course not, because
Of
who's got
course
time?
not.
Who's got time to listen to a 3-hour recording?
Right.
Boring. And then who's got time to read a transcript of bullet points? Boring. No one has time for that. They just want to play.
Right.
And so like I'm feeling it from the opposite direction now. It's like, oh, I didn't go read our recap. I didn't listen to our past episodes. I don't have time for that. I mean, just like you, I've got life, I've got day job, I've got STA stuff coming out the wazoo all over the place, working on for next year and 25. So like, I mean, people are probably worried that stuff's not coming out, but like, trust me, there's stuff coming out. We just haven't announced it yet. But trust me, we're going, or at least I am going full thrusters right now. I know Michael and the writer team, they've done their job already on some of this stuff, and I'm just cranking through the edits and the layout and all that other fun stuff that happens with all these projects. And last time I checked my spreadsheet, hey, I've got 60 projects on my plate right now. So,
and I'm scared to play RPG because of those projects. Like I literally, like even with my group, I'll say, I have a faithful bunch of people who play with me on Discord.
Yeah.
And right now, one of the players, Michael Freeman, is wonderfully taking over the GM role for me right now, so they can keep playing because I'm busy, writing and doing this stuff. So I'm with trepidation, and maybe people out there, hit us up on social media if you feel the same way. With trepidation, you take up the reins of game mastering, knowing that real life can happen and maybe some players have to drop out. It's a real situation.
Mm-hmm. It really is. And I mean, this is real life, right? I mean, and it happens. And I remember the halcyon days of being a college grunt, working my day job, going to school, but still finding tons of time to play. And
wonderful.
Like somehow my group and I, we managed to string, 40, 50, 60 sessions together like nothing.
Right.
We like, this is the norm. This is the way it is. And then we all got older and life happened. And
partners who want you to do stuff besides RPG.
Yes. Yes, and you get partners who aren't into RPGs, and that's okay. But that has an impact, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, the last time we played was 3 months ago. Are we getting back together? Like, is that campaign still a thing? Oh, it just kind of died on the vine, and we'll start a new one. And then 3 months later, we'll start a new one, and then it's just like this cycle of things happen, and you just never get back to it. So
this is perfect then, because what we're going to talk about is how to work around that. Because actually, what's funny is I've worked around it for decades. I've mentioned before that I had friends who moved to different countries, Germany, Canada. They moved all over the United States of America, and they still wanted to play RPG. And that's how we graduated first to email, play by email, PBEM. And then we went from there to using WhatsApp, and then graduate over to Discord. But this is a real situation happening. Nowadays with work by remote, people are moving all over the country. Mm-hmm. Gaming groups are breaking up, or you have to adapt for them. And so one of the things I've learned, and we're going to go over tonight, is how do you at least get to a point? I guess maybe we'll tackle it in two ways, Jim, because now that you're waking this conversation up, how do we do it with a group of people who we want to play with? And then I've learned a lot playing Captain's Log by myself, and then what we've experienced collaboratively, where I'm like, ooh, I know a better way to do this so I can get through an entire story in a short amount of time through the art of outlining. So maybe we can talk a little bit first. We've talked about it in other episodes before, but what are ways we can prepare for one-shots that still might fit into a greater picture of an adventure? What are some of the things you've done in the past as gaming time slows down from college days to real life? What are some of the things you advise?
Yeah, okay. I like that structure, Michael. So I think on the one hand, we could talk a little bit about like STA as a game. Although you can certainly use Captain's Log to play collaboratively with players and game masters. I mean, so really we're talking universally here about Star Trek Adventures and Captain's Log, specifically because this is what we're about. We could talk about D&D, or we could talk about some other game, but that's not what we're here for. In my experience, I think when I was running games and I wasn't real confident that we'd be able to meet consistently, I tended to focus more on shorter self-contained stories. So like an episode, like not to say a bottle episode, because it wasn't about just being on the ship or just being on a planet or something, but it was like, here's a here's a really cool episode that took maybe 2-3, like if I knew that I could get 2 or 3 sessions out of my group before they scattered to the 4 winds, I was like, okay, I'll do one self-contained story, one solid self-contained story, knock it out in 2 sessions, 3 sessions, whatever it took. And then of course, because it's Star Trek, you knew that you could always do another episode with the same crew or most of the same crew. You can always explain away a couple of people going off to a seminar or whatever. They're indisposed. They're just off screen for whatever reason. Or of course, with Star Trek Adventures, you can make them supporting characters if you wanted to. But I tended, because like in my mentality, I always think big, epic, multi-season campaigns because that's what I love and that's what I've had really good experience with, and that's my dream. But of course, over the decades, I've been frustrated because that doesn't happen because there's just so many people and so many schedules that just conspire to wreck those plans, right?
Yep.
And so I think I've come to accept that, what, maybe just doing a really good short episode, maybe almost like in the player's guide and even in Captain's Log, we talk about like the cinematic style storyline, where you do big stakes, big action, big villain, crazy cool effects and stuff, and you do that in like 2-3 sessions, and then you're done. And then you could come back to it later with the characters in the same situation or in a slightly different situation, or you can just continue the story however you see fit. So I've tended to gravitate toward that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going to break it down even more to something I've never written about, but I probably should. And I'm going to call it the 2-act structure. I know we talk about 3 acts, that's the standard story, but what I've been finding is with my tabletop group who come around, they really only have 2 to 3 hours to commit to it, but they want a full story. And what I've been doing with this is a 2-act structure. And what I mean is I use Lower Decks. Let's use Lower Decks as the format for this because it's a real thing happening. Is that right there, boom, within the first 30 minutes to an hour, here is your problem. This is your problem. This is what you're assigned to do. This is what you're assigned to take care of. What are all your proposed solutions? All right, Act 2, these are proposed solutions. Go at it. Wrap it up. But what I do and what I've done with my tabletop group is each one of those 2-act sessions gives them one clue that's going to play into the bigger story by episode 10. So each time when they sit down again, I say, remember last time what you guys did? Do you remember what you did? Like, yeah, we stopped this person. Yeah, but do you remember what you found out? Yeah, we got this computer that helps us, in one case with ours, read through subquantum realities. That's right. That's exactly what you did. That you have that information now. And then we go play another game that they think is disrelated. It's like, oh, look at that. You found another clue. So I've been using this 2-act structure to get us through games in 2 to 3 hours where people walk away and all their characters get to do something. Even if we don't play, like in my case with my live action game, not live action, I don't live action role play, the tabletop game, even if we don't play for 6 to 8 weeks, I have written down the big clues that they found last time, and I throw them into a new adventure. And that's been kind of having them come back. We're 9 games in now. So
wow, nice.
Yeah. So it's not bad at all. So how I can adapt that maybe online too with Discord group is Discord's a little better because it's a little bit spread out and we're not rushed to play. But I find that when I go for 2 or 3 weeks without making a post, I do lose the fuel. I do lose the energy in the story.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So
it's tricky to sustain that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to adapt to that, which is the situation we're now in with our game, USS Saratoga, Captain's Log.
Yeah, and just filling people, if you haven't already figured it out, like it's been months, or at least a month plus, that we've looked at it, or that I've looked at it, and I've lost the thread of where we were, what we were doing. I know we were going at a decent clip with those 2 episodes we did. I think we were up to scene 3 or maybe scene 4, out of 10 to 15, however, and rapidly we got involved with the episode 100 planning and execution, and then other stuff, and like we said before, just life and stuff got in the way. And they were like, well, yeah, we could continue it, but like the fire's not there, and we have to spend the whole 30 minutes recapping, and no one wants to sit through that.
So what I did as a solution, what I found is I play captain's logs by myself because I just love creating new stories. I love creating new ideas. So I'm going to propose something for us to do, Jim, to start. So USS Saratoga, yes, it's living on, its adventures are going on. I trust it is. I don't want to create new characters because we have our character sheets. Right. And we know that they're going to have many different episodes. But I think what we should do is start fresh. And what I've been doing now with my personal captain's log game is I've been outlining the entire game. So I know we're popular for doing our riff episodes, Jim. So I actually think we should roll through with our characters. We have our ship. I think we start up a new mission. We actually roll through each scene, what happens, but not narratively. We just go through, this is some of the issues that are going to happen in this scene. These are the problems we're going to have to resolve. Get to the very end of it. And then what I've been noticing in my personal captain's log game, by the time I get to like scenes 13, 14, I go back up and I tweak scenes 2 and 3 to make sure it works. I think people kind of need to see this happen so that you can actually get through an entire 15 scenes. And then for those of you who want to, you can go back and journal. I do. I personally go back and journal and expand on it. How does that sound?
That sounds good. Although I have one question, Michael. I think did we fully cover what we wanted to cover before we jump into this? Like I know we were going to say we were going to talk about strategies about using STA and Captain's Log to pick things up or to carry through. Like did we cover all that? I don't have a transcript in front of me, so I don't really remember.
You mean before in the previous episodes?
No, just now in this episode we were saying we were going to have a structure where we were going to talk about strategies about how to navigate the challenges of playing something for a while, going away from it, and then coming back to it. Right? I kind of talked about STA, right? But we didn't really talk about like how would you do that with Captain's Log generically.
That's what I was running through now. So well, if you're by yourself, again, let's go do if you're playing by yourself, what I've noticed with solo RPG is if I only do 4 or 5 scenes and because what slows me down initially was I was rolling it out and writing as I went along and doing dialogue and stuff like that was slowing me down. I said I'll get back to it, and then a month later I come back to it and I have to kind of reread the whole thing to get caught back up. What I've done most recently, which cured me of that issue, is I actually sit down and I roll up all 15 scenes. And therefore I picture the whole story in my mind. And then for my own satisfaction, because I like to write, I then go back and do the narration. And I even use tools like ChatGPT to help me because it's my own game. I can. No one cares.
Fair enough. So then I guess one of the strategies we can tease out of that then is to remind people, like if you're playing Captain's Log for a while, you do a few scenes and then you either get distracted or you get burned out or you need something else to, something else draws your attention. If you've made some effort at taking notes, whether it's transcription or you've been doing bullet points or you've been doing a full-blown narrative like we've been doing, it'll be there for you, right? You can always go back to it, reread it, refresh your memory. And if you haven't been planning ahead, like we did in some cases, we were starting to pull threads. We were starting to weave in threads that we knew wouldn't be resolved until the end of the episode, right? We were seeing things that were happening that we knew we would fold it in later. But so like if you're playing Captain's Log and you're feeling discouraged, don't, because the toolkit is there. The pieces that you've already put together are there. If you've done a little bit of recording. And you can always go back and pick it up, and this is true for writing too, right? Like I do this all the time. I never throw anything away. I've got a Scrivener project for all my drabbles, all my bits and pieces, all my plot bunnies, like whatever you want to call them. It's all those little starting points of stories that maybe I'll get, maybe I'll have a burr in my head and I'll bang out 1,500 words on a short story, and then I'll stop dead and I'll be like, oh, okay, something's blocking me. Something subconsciously is blocking me from retaining this. I'll go switch to a different story or a different thing, and I'll come back to it. And sometimes I'll come back to it and I'll pick up where I left off and go, oh, there's the block. I fixed the block, and now I can finish the story, or I can do another 1,000 words before I hit another block or something. So as long as you're making some sort of effort to record it, it won't go away. It'll always be there for you. And don't ever feel like it's a failure, because everything's practice, right? Everything you write is practice for the next thing you write. So like I know a lot of writers, especially newer writers, get down on themselves for not finishing something. It's like, well, don't necessarily feel bad for not finishing something. You're practicing, right? You're putting the reps in, you're getting your subconscious, charged up here to think about writing and putting words together. So, Captain's Log's the same way.
Well, and I have to say too, I mean, it's one of the lessons I've learned with playing Captain's Log, because if you play enough games, random tables, there's so many available random tables out there in the universe,
right?
That after I roll up my initial game, I've been making the decision of what kind of game do I want to play. Like, do I want to have another ship battle? Do I want an entire game without phasers? So how can I take the different random table results that come up, the probability matrices, and change them into the kind of stories I like, which are very people heavy? I've been introducing a lot of different tables from different games, whether it's 5 parsecs from home, ones I've generated myself, like the Jane Austen table I put on continuing missions. I said, let me throw a Jane Austen storyline type in this. I've even used Starforge, another Modifius product, and I've come up with some really cool stories because the universe is so big. Even if we want to do, Jim, for instance, if we roll up a story and we say, hey, you know what? Let's have a story on a star base, or let's have a story on a medieval planet. And let's see how we can adapt the roll tables to do a medieval kind of story. It's been really fun as an exercise, and I've actually been using it in my own personal writing too.
Yeah, that's
just
awesome.
To come up with cool ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as a writer, whether it's Captain's Log or Star Trek or just like whatever, grab every tool you can possibly imagine and throw it into your toolbox. Like there's like, I'm sure I'm not the only writer who's got a whole shelf full of writing books, reference guides, dictionaries, thesauruses, random writing stuff that people have created over the decades. And like, there's nuggets of gold in every one of them. Right. Yep. And every one of those is a tool. So throw it into your toolkit. So if you're borrowing from other games, whether they're science fiction, fantasy, weird Western, whatever, it's all good. No one's going to tell you, you can't do it. So like pull writing tools from everywhere that you can. Right. So absolutely. Yeah, do it.
Exactly. So I think with that, I kind of want to jump into, let's create a framework. Let's show them how to create a framework. And if that story resonates with you, then you're going to go and do the narration on it. Or at least you're just going to have all these amazing plot threads and almost mini mission briefs.
Yeah.
To play off of. Because each 15 scenes, each act is its own mission brief, in a sense. That's how I think of it, for those of you who know Star Trek Adventures. And so I say we roll it up, roll through quick major 15 scenes and get to a wrap up and show them how we think. This is like the ultimate riff session.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay, I'm gonna actually share screen on this, so that those of you who are looking at the podcast, you'll actually be able to watch as I take notes. And so now we start. By the way, if there's some editing snafu, people understand we're not paid for this. Sometimes I have to fix stuff. So if something just went all of a sudden, that's on me. All right. As we said, myself and Jim are going to continue the adventures of USS Saratoga with Captain Jin Amat, who is an Anir, and we've decided he's blind or not blind. Jim?
Anar.
Anar. Sorry.
Not Anir.
It depends what part of their world you come from. They have different accents, but Anar. Okay.
There you go.
Sure. Is he blind or not blind?
I'd say they're probably blind.
That's cool. I love the fact of having a vision impaired captain, but of course knowing that they have superpowers that compensate for it. We have Daredevil as the captain. I left you speechless. I love that.
We haven't. I'm looking at the sheet. Oh wait, no, this is Captain's Log. Never mind. We don't need talents.
Nope. This is real life, people.
and we're focus. Yeah. Okay. And we're doing creation play. So
that's right.
Who knows what talent? Or who knows what focuses Captain Jin and Matt has? So we'll
exactly
that in play.
We'll get to that. I know that my character only has evacuation procedure so far and one value, but what we're doing right now again is we're just building the framework for the story. Later on, we would go back and do narration, but because Jim and I are who we are, we're probably going to do a lot of riffing and talk about where the story should go. So I think we're going to jump immediately for everyone who's following along in your Captain's Log solo book. We're going to, of course, go over and pick our mission type and roll our mission types to start for the Saratoga mission. Again, we're focusing today on just outlining the overall mission without narrative to show you how fast that can go. Jim, do you want to do the first roll on page 257 for the mission type for this mission?
Oh yeah, thanks for the page. I was getting there.
Well, of course, I have my tabbed book and I have my iPad out, so I'm ready to go.
I got my tab book right here, so
exactly.
All good. All right, let me grab my handy dandy command dice. There we go. All right, so mission type. Here we go. All right, mission type is 11. It's a patrol.
Oh, I love that.
And then I'll flip over to patrol, which is on page 262. And we are going with a what? We are installing a new sensor array.
I love something that simple because honestly, I would love if we have an in-ship or planetary type of game that doesn't involve phasers and torpedoes. Let's see if we can make something happen. So we're installing a new sensor array while on patrol.
Yep.
All right, that sounds good. So let's get a couple more details. Of course, we know the next step is on page 267, which is themes and incident. So let's do our theme and
you want to roll? Or you want me to?
Go ahead and roll. I like typing.
Okay. All right. I love it. Okay, our incident is build.
Makes sense.
And our theme is unknown life form.
So it sounds like we're building a new sensor array, but we are going to encounter an unknown life form while doing it. That seems kind of interesting. I like this. Okay, that takes us over to advantages and complications. So first we have to roll an even or an odd to determine whether we have an advantage or complication in this story.
All right, this is going to be a complication.
Ooh.
And the complication is an inept crew member. The only specialist the crew has for the situation is secretly unable to proceed, either due to lack of skill or being too terrified to continue. So I kind of like the idea of us starting to construct this new sensor array, and something out there in space has terrified the subject matter expert of of building this thing, and our engineer has now become terrified of something or someone in space.
I like that. I think this is a good spot for us to go ahead and roll up where the location is. Before we do the encounters probability matrix on 270, I think we need to pick up where we're actually building this. Doesn't that make sense?
Yep.
All right, so let's go to our location, and that's on page 302 to determine what kind of location this is.
Yep, I'm getting there. 302. 302 locations by theme. Yep, here we go. All right. Rolled a 20. Research. And then I rolled a 13. The self-aware computer here demands all visitors submit to an invasive brain scan.
I love it.
Does that work for you? You want something different?
I think this, again, we're going to tweak it. Self-aware requires invasive brain scan, because I think we're going to learn a lot about this inept crew member who doesn't really want this brain scan, or we learn why they're so inept. Like maybe they're fraudulent. I like the fact that this is not necessarily turning into a phaser pew pew show, but almost I don't know why I keep picturing Barkley as we talk about this.
Yeah, this almost has bottle show written on it,
doesn't it? Okay, so again, we're researching it, but maybe let's go back to page 270, Jim, and let's roll on the type of encounter, so that we can figure out, what the catalyst is to get this story started, and then we'll start rolling Act 1.
All right, great. This is deep space.
Deep space.
Deep space, and we've got a rogue comet is traveling nearby.
So it sounds, are we installing a new sensor on a rogue comet?
Sure, why not?
And I think let's make it benevolent. You know, maybe it's a simple scientific, exploration, and that we put it on this comet, and it'll track for the next 1,000 years its course. So, very maybe starting out with a very calm opening scene where we get to know our characters a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, go ahead. I have an idea, but
Well, I was going to riff, but I don't know if you
please
want me
riff.
to.
Yes, yeah.
I was going to riff to say, like, I know that we are Picard era.
Mhm.
I wonder if there's an angle here where maybe the rogue comment isn't necessarily rogue. Maybe we're installing the sensor array, and maybe we're also installing systems that will help kind of tweak the trajectory of that rogue comet so that it goes somewhere along the lines toward a adversary or a potential adversary, so that
Ooh.
we're using the rogue comet as a quote unquote natural phenomenon that we could piggyback a intel kind of operation on behind it. That seems a little nefarious for Starfleet, but and I should
Well,
want to, I don't want to get into Section 31, but
but
yeah.
maybe it's within. Maybe the comet only is within our area, so we have the right to do it up to a point.
We have like one window of opportunity to do it.
Yeah. So
Without anybody noticing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we need to roll on our captain and the crew doing that. So I think that our Act One, Scene One is the operation itself,
Mm-hmm.
and hoping we don't roll any complications. So you have your captain, which discipline, and maybe this is the time to add a focus to your captain regarding this type of technology. Maybe that's why you're assigned to it. So what focus could you add to him?
Let's see. So commanding
To
officer
them, excuse me.
focus is diplomacy. Well, are we leaning toward it being an intelligence operation?
Yeah, so you could roll maybe on the security focus table or the
Well,
science
let's see. So
focus table.
the disciplines I picked for them was command and science. So I think my intention with this character was that they were more of a scientist than anything else. High presence, high control, high reason. So you know what? I would angle it to say that maybe the initial mission was to install this sensor array, but like the information we were getting from Starfleet Command was a little sketchy, and it came out maybe in like a private conversation with the admiral and the captain that there's actually another layer to this mission. It's not just installing the sensor array and oh cool science, but there's also, oh, and by the way, we're using this as a monitoring platform for
Okay.
the Zencathi or
Okay, so first go to page 87, and what they first told you to install, let's figure out which science focus it would be. And I think we should give your captain that focus. So page
okay.
87, let's roll one of the random focuses there. You need to roll 2d20 on that. Or you could roll, I'm going to say because of the new update you did, roll a d20. If you roll 1 through 10, it's 1 through 20. If you roll 11 through 20, then you'll roll on the final 20 table.
Well, I I rolled unorthodox mathematics, but I'm not quite sure how that would fit into this. Oh, unorthodox mathematics. Maybe it's just maybe my maybe Captain Jinimat is really good with computing astrometric angles and stuff, and maybe the intent was that they are one of the few people who could calculate such a thing without it getting into the official record. Right.
I like it. In fact, it seems that probably we know that time and space oftentimes changes the physics of the universe. So maybe you're calculating some sort of time space distortion that the comet's going to pass through.
Yeah. And I like the idea of maybe whoever's giving us this mission don't want this to be part of part
Well,
of the record.
I'm going to ask you to
So
roll.
they're
Yeah.
making them do it off their dome, right?
Well,
Without assistance.
well, I'm going to have you then roll. Let's talk about this inept character. I think they have a security focus that is an underlying mission or conflict that potentially could come up. So why don't you roll under on page 86 security focuses, and let's see what their specialty is that may come in conflict that we weren't aware of at the beginning of the mission.
Sure thing. So security focuses.
Page 86.
Yep, I got it. Fleet formations.
Ah, perfect. So the inept person is going to do something that messes us up regarding fleet formations. So they're maybe adding on a secondary kind of sensor that's going to bust us out later because of the ineptitude that creates some difficulty for us in the mission. So now we do need you to roll as a captain. It seems like you're going to have to roll either your reason or command plus science to see how your part of the mission goes first, right? And that would be one of our first tasks that we're rolling on.
Yeah, so reason and science with the focus on unorthodox mathematics, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So I'll roll that. So that's my target number is a 14. I rolled a 12 and a 13, so that's 2 successes.
Good. That gives us right away an advantage.
Yep.
Or I should say a momentum, which you can use as an advantage. Is that how you want to use it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the captain would probably think anything to help this out.
Yep.
So rolling on the advantage table, which is on page 268, I rolled a 13. That's lucky circumstances. Lucky circumstances, an earlier failure has unintended positive side effects. So there's something lucky is going to happen to us along the way here. Maybe we catch a lucky break, maybe something.
Yeah, well, that may save our life later on.
We can bank that, yeah.
Okay, so we'll save that. We're going to save that for later in the story. All right, so we're going to, at this point, we're not going to, we're showing you how to outline the adventure. So we're not going to name who this inept person is yet. We just know that they're on this secondary mission to spy on maybe Romulan fleet formations or Cardassian fleet formations. This is Picard era, but we know that they're up to no good and they're running counter of our mission. So are we good to go into scene 2 and see what we get from there?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I want to show people something cool, Jim. Do you mind if for scene 2 we create that into a B story and I will roll on the Jane Austen table I created in Continuing Missions?
Go for it, man.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the Jane Austen table. I created a probability matrix called Dramatic Situations in a Jane Austen Novel that you could use in Star Trek Adventures. Roll a 1 to 20 for me, Jim, and I will tell you what our B story is.
1d20?
1d20, yeah.
I got a 18.
All right, I'm going to cut it, paste in here, and this sounds really cool. So scene 2, we are having this inherited obligations. A character is burdened with family obligations, conflicting with their personal desires. Nice. Is this going to be the captain or the XO? Fofin. Should we 50, roll 1? Yep, roll 50-50 on us for that. So captain's 1 through 10, Fofim's the XO is 2 through 20.
All right. I've got a 9, so it's gonna be the captain.
The captain. Ooh, and he is pronounce it for me again.
Captain Ginamat, G-I-N''EMAT.
And he's an Anar.
Anar, right.
So he has a family member who wants them to do something that's on the ship. So this is going to be very interesting, a visiting family member. You want to name which family member it is?
It could be their partner.
All right.
Who's on the ship with them.
And Anars have a lot of partners. So 1, 2, 3.
Well, if it's a traditional, it could be up to as many as 3 partners, right? So let's just say one of the partners.
Okay. And let's see. Do you want to create the issue by rolling on one more time the theme incident and see if we could somehow make it work?
Yeah, sure.
Let's try theme incident. Page 267.
257, right?
And what's going to be interesting about this, I want to make it so that no matter what we get in the theme incident, we make it very human and very familial, whatever the problem is.
Yeah. Where's the theme incident again?
267.
267s. Yeah, sorry.
Yep.
I was on
So
the wrong
incident
page.
and theme.
There it is. All right. So incident and theme. All right. We got that's doesn't seem to make sense. Destroy crater. What?
Okay, so someone has a zit.
Okay. That may not be the best table to roll on, but
there are others in other books, but let's show how creative we can get with this though for a second, right? Sure. What if it is some sort of facial blemish or plastic surgery issue?
That could be a plastic surgery issue.
How about we take it this place? How about we go even further, Jim? This is an ANAR, right? What if they're thinking about getting optical implants so that they can actually see like other people?
Yeah, that works.
Right?
Maybe their partner's unhappy and or has been talking to people, and maybe they want. Well, I mean, if you follow some of the beta canon, there's issues going on with the whole Andorian genome, and maybe they're looking, maybe they're more progressive than other Andorians, and they want to try something different. So they want optical implants, and this could be a sticking point with my character. Maybe my character is more of a traditionalist.
I love this. Okay, so now the
captain's a traditionalist. The partner is more progressive. Yeah. Okay. So there's your B plot.
Yeah, I think that's really cool.
Or a B plot. And that B plot, I don't know if you want to make a note but that could the doctor could get involved in that, like whoever our doctor is. That could potentially, I mean, depending on how far down the road we get with it, that could be
or the counselor.
Or the counselor, yeah.
Right. We'll put that in the counselor. Very cool. Good B plot, actually. I that would actually be really, really interesting.
That's one of those great B plots where as a player, I would take that kind of thing and run with it, because that's giving us an opportunity as players to flesh out a species that hasn't been well fleshed out on the TV shows or in the movies, right? And this is a way to kind of make it your own. Like take the beta canon, take the main canon, and take what you know from that, but then extrapolate something new and different, and add this new nuance to it. This is something that I really enjoy, is world building and adding detail.
Me too. I do too. So let's do this now as we go into Act 1, Scene 3. Seems like we should be at the comet and starting to do some of this build, right? So you have your design that you successfully rolled last time, but I'm kind of picturing us the next scene, the ship sidling up to the comet. And where I would go at this point, just to show people how I like building up in Act 1 and Act 2, I actually want to generate some threat. I want to roll on threat tables on page 278 and see what problems might be coming up as I approach this comet.
Yeah.
And so that's on page 278. Do we want to roll on what kind of threats coming up?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think just thinking through story, like this is where if we look at the things that we already know that are going to happen, right? We're installing this thing. So the scene would be the teams in their EVA suits. They're going out to the comet. They got the gear. They got the tech. They're starting to install it, and then things go wrong. This is the right point where things have to go. I mean, in the story, things go wrong here. So let's see what we're doing. A random threat here. So what's the theme here? Where the theme is a hostile alien entity.
Okay.
That ties into our alien life form that we were referring to earlier.
That's right, because we have something self-aware that the research leads to something self-aware that requires invasive brain scan. So there's something in this comet. Okay.
And the hostile alien entity, I'm rolling on that table now. Well, I guess this doesn't give us anything new. It's I rolled an 11. That's hostile species.
Okay.
So hostile alien entity, hostile. I mean, sufficient to say they're a hostile species. This would be a new species. We haven't encountered these before. This is an all new species. They are on this comet, or they are connected to this comet somehow, whether it's subspace shenanigans or just on this comet. We're installing this tech, this sensor palette, and oh, there's an hostile alien species here. Now, we have not gone into any detail on what kind of species this is. It could be microbes. It could be.
Let's go to page 290 and roll it out.
Yeah.
Let's get some definition on it. It could be a cybernetic species. You just don't know. So
good point. Yeah.
Let's figure out some details in Act 3. They may not get all the answers in Scene 3, but we're going to know what it is in Scene 3 that could create problems for them. So let's do first its mental capacity and awareness.
Okay, mental capacity / awareness. Not only are they hostile, but they are patient.
Interesting.
And being on a rogue comet, they'd kind of have to be patient because it could be a long time before they run into a.
Oh, have they been waiting to set a trap too?
Oh, maybe.
Oh, so now let's find out.
Or maybe this is a trope right here. Maybe they've been imprisoned on the rogue comet and they've just been waiting for somebody to come along so they could get off.
Oh, or maybe they even were implanted there by the hostile person that the inept crew member is supposed to survey. Maybe he got duped by bad intel and is getting suckered into a political situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Metabolic energy type could be Dekion.
Okay. And for those of you who don't know what a Dekion is, it is a time-related particle that messes with time in a very pseudoscience kind of way. So a lot of things that can happen.
I'm good with that. Their morphology is liquid.
Morphology. Oh, that makes sense, actually.
Digging on that.
That makes a lot of sense on it. And it could be like a mercury, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the happy circumstances. Their preferred environment is comet trails.
Oh, this is so cool.
And the spaceborne entities maybe taking nearly
oh, that's different.
Oh, that's different.
That's specific. Yeah.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Okay. So far, this is great. We have a hostile species whose patient energy type is Dekion, which is oftentimes related to chronotons and time. They're liquid and they exist in comet trails, which of course works perfectly into our story. So let's roll now on the crew. Let's assume, would the captain have gone on this mission?
Well, I mean, I would say it's Captain's log, and if this is the main character for this particular episode, not to take anything away from your character, but like if this episode is captain focused, maybe the fact that they had to calculate the stuff in their head, maybe they had to be present on the comet in order to position the sensor array in just the right spot mathematically, calculating the comet's rotation and the speed and all this stuff and math and technobabble. Maybe yes, the captain and the XO, and this might have been a scene that we would fit in prior to this one. In fact, we could call this scene 4. Maybe scene 3 was the captain and the XO having a moment saying, Captain, I don't really think you should be going out in an EVA suit, plopping your butt on a rogue comet. And then the captain saying, well, ain't nobody else here to do it, so I gotta.
Okay, well, I think that would require a presence plus command then.
There you go.
All right, so what's his presence plus command number?
This is going to be an opposed roll, yeah. So presence.
No opposed roll. It's just captain's log.
Oh, right, yeah, sorry. Presence is 11, command is 4, so my target number is 15.
Okay.
I will roll 2d20 here. I don't have any particular advantage here, but we do have that one advantage, that lucky break we could pull later if we I don't think it makes sense here, but let's see what we got here. I rolled a 10 and a 20.
Yes.
So yes. It was a success.
So success, you get to go.
Is the complication.
This is great. Okay, and that complication, I'm going to ask you to do, because I've been having fun doing this. I want to make the next tax roll require 2 successes.
Or do we add more threat?
Well, here's why. I think if we're going to really scare people in Act 1, Jim, is the captain's going to go out there with the Some Way Away team members, and something's got to happen where this hostile species wakes up, And I think the crew should roll if they survive that first encounter. And by making it by making it require 2 successes, we get that red shirt option.
There you go.
Right?
I dig it.
Okay, so we're gonna go over to Act 1, Scene 4, and let's roll and ask the question. We're asking the question right now. When entity wakes up, do away team members get injured? I'll just say injured for now. I'm not going to define it more than that. So now I think we need to roll on the ship, which you have at the bottom of your sheet there for your captain, and which system and which department do you think you'd have to roll on to represent the away team in this situation?
It'd
You
probably
probably
be,
had your science. Did you think you have your science team with you?
yeah, it'd probably be like sensors and science.
Yep.
So that's 10 plus 2, so target number is 12.
And you have to get 2 successes to avoid this going bad.
So before I roll this, though, just a little suspense here. That bullet point that you have for captain, presence, and command, should that actually be its own scene? Would we make that scene 2?
That was scene 3, because all we were doing to open up the scene was to figure out defining a little bit about the comet.
So the scene is the captain and the XO having a conversation, with the captain winning out, but there's a complication.
Correct.
So let's see. So my target number is 12. I rolled a 12 and a 19. So there's a fail.
so now we get to ask some questions about, like, under I think this is where the probability matrix comes in to open up scene 4. Is someone hurt, right?
Yeah.
What do you think the probability? I mean, this is scene Act 1. I like to be super scary.
I think the probability is high.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think if it's a hostile alien species that have been waiting and waiting for something to happen, for someone to come along, I think the probability is highly probable someone's going to get hurt.
Okay, someone is hurt.
Some poor blue shirt science officer is gonna meet a messy end here. So I'm gonna say highly probable. Yes on a 1 to 18, no on a 19-20, and I rolled a 12. So yes, someone has died. Now we could roll. We have some casualty tables in here. Where is it? Radiation, resources, gym.
Toward the end, you're gonna find
crew casualties. Here we go.
Yep. So you want them to get injured, not just flambéed, huh?
Well, I rolled a 19, so somebody's gonna die.
Okay. So we're gonna have one crew member die. So again, we're not defining who that is now. We're just outlining the story. Remember, everyone? Right. So we're gonna have one crew member die, and I have to ask the question just so we know in this scene: is that inept person also on this away team?
Yes.
Yes, right. So let's make sure inept person on away team. In fact, what do you think about? So we know in scene 4 someone gets hurt, someone dies as the creature wakes up. Should we make scene 5 whatever this scandalous person is doing, and kind of roll if anyone catches them? Or
I don't think they're scandalous. I think they're just inept. I think in fact they may have been rattled by their away team companion getting liquefied from the inside, or like whatever horrible end that science officer met. The inept person, because of that complication, did a understandably lousy job of planting the sensor pallet or whatever.
Okay. Do we need to roll on them as crew members to see about that?
To see about what?
We know that they're inept already, right? So do we need to, since they're a crew member in scene 5, whatever they're supposed to be doing, maybe taking advantage of the distraction of the hurt or injured, killed crew member, that maybe they say, oh, this is my chance to strike. Do we need to roll on them under the ship systems and departments to see how they do?
Well, I think it sounds like you're trying to imply that they're being malicious about it, whereas I think they're just inept.
Okay. So they're just inept. So right. They may. Okay. So scene 5 in this case. Oh, scene 5 in this. Is anyone else? First of all, let's figure out, is anyone else injured? We know one person dies, but shouldn't we roll if anyone else is actually injured, which may require us to head back to the ship and do med bay stuff?
Well, I'm guessing there's probably not more than 4 people on this away mission, including the captain, right? So the captain, the person who died, the inept crew member, and then one other one. So I guess we could roll a probability for all 4 of them, right? To see if
that sounds good. So should we play 50-50 on the rest, injured or not?
Yeah, sure. So
so first captain.
Evens they're okay, odds they're injured.
Okay.
Okay. So captain, evens I said is good. So captain's okay. Inept person is okay.
Ooh.
Good. And the other one is injured. I guess I guess we have to decide if they're injured or killed. Well, actually I can determine the crew casualties here, right?
Yep. Roll it.
And I rolled a 6, so they're no injury. Well, I mean, it says no injury, so I guess they could have been hurt, but they weren't actually hurt.
Okay, so we'll say no injuries, just frazzled. Okay. Yeah. Do they return to the ship in scene 5? To scan more and learn more about the entity?
I think that would be protocol, is like you grab the dead body and you bring everybody back, figure out what happened.
Okay, let's see if the ship can successfully transport them back or if there's some problem. So I think scene 5 is, are they stuck on the comet or are they going back? So go ahead and roll on the ship systems and departments for transport, which would be sensors and con.
Transporters, I think, are I have to. Oh, I don't remember.
It's sensor. I think it's sensors. I think it's sensors and con.
Sensors and con. Sure, that works for me. Let's do it. That's right. 13 difficulty. So we're doing like a immediate site to site transport from the comet to sick bay to see if maybe we can try to I mean, we know they're dead, but we got to at least put the effort into getting them back to sick bay and giving the doctor a chance to resuscitate him, right? So I've got a 6 and a 17. So I've got 1 success.
All right, that's all you needed, right?
That's all I needed. So it was a success.
Whew. Okay, that's quite a first act.
Yep. So scene 5, we get the away team back to the ship. We are all in sick bay. However, I would have to say, even though we didn't specify it, I would say the mission's incomplete. We did not successfully install the sensor pallet. We encountered a hostile alien life form, and now we're back on the ship.
Good. So I think
that's a good first act.
That's a great first act, and I think coming in, yeah, this is really good. All right. So then Act 2, I think we need to go back to our inherited obligations here, right? And I think at this point, it's almost interesting that we're in sick bay at this point, right? So we're going to transfer it back to ship sick bay.
Oh yeah,
right. You see where I'm going with this?
The captain's partner could be in sick bay, getting fitted for ocular, or getting measured for ocular implants, or having a consultation with the resident ophthalmologist for implants. And we come beaming in with our EVA suits and our tension and our dead companion, and what are you doing here?
Yeah.
You're going on about this thing again. I thought we talked about that and we tabled it, but here you are anyway.
Yeah.
And there could be some tension there in addition to the attempts to resuscitate the dead crew member.
In fact, what I want you to do based on that, I think it's only fair that the captain at this point kind of rolls to see if they can hold it together. Like can they focus on the dire mission while also knows their partner is about to do this huge life-altering decision? And why are they rushing it? That's a question we can leave. Like, why are they so insistent now?
Oh yeah.
To do it, right?
I would call that control and command. Right.
Let's see here.
Trying to control myself.
Yeah, I would say that control plus command, which is 14 for you.
Target number is 14. I rolled a 15 and an 18. Oh no.
This is good. So this is where I like to talk about captain's log in this sense. When you fail in this sense, I want to make it really bad for the captain. right? Like, so it's your captain, it's your character who's almost trying to force the issue, right? We'll say captain's partner in sickbay forcing the issue. Why would this unsettle? What's happening then unsettles the captain so much? We don't have to answer it here because we're outlining the adventure.
Well, I mean, there's a couple of things, right? I mean, first of all, the captain's under a lot of pressure because one of their crew members just died, and the doctor's is not going to be able to resuscitate them, so the mission's at risk. But in addition to that, potentially more importantly, their partner is going about something that he or they thought maybe they talked about, but they're doing it anyway, and there might be just that moment of as people we just reach max capacity, and not to say they break, but they have a moment of real frustration, and perhaps raises their voice to their partner, and the partner gets their knickers in a twist, unjustifiably, yes, just justifiably, and says, well, I'm going to do my own thing, screw you, you're not the boss of me. And the captain's like, well, I am the boss of you. It's like, no, I'm not in Starfleet. So I think this is a good place to say that the captain's partner is not in Starfleet, they're a civilian.
Exactly.
And
let's roll what they are real quick, just so that we have it to add into the story. Go to page 283 to generating conflict regarding character archetypes, and page 283. And why don't we first find out their partner, what job they basically have on the first one there.
We're talking archetype.
Yep. So let's get a little definition on this, because it might
they're
play
a scholar.
Interesting.
Scholar. Okay. I like that.
Yep. And then what if we go over to their goals on page 284?
Goals are good. Let's see. I rolled 7. Earn someone's respect.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Who are they trying to impress? One of their other partners?
Maybe.
And then the tactic. Let's take a look. One more on tactic on page 285.
Tactic, sacrificing self.
Okay. So we don't again have to answer this now, but that would come up in this argument. Something would allude to this, right?
Right.
Which is going to be in a way, to me, I'd write it in a way where the captain's totally distracted now. The rest of the mission, they're distracted by whatever this revelation was.
I like the idea that it's one of the other partners. Maybe one of the other partners is also progressive, and this partner thinks that maybe by sacrificing their traditional values and going for the ocular implants will change the power relationship, or will change the balance of power, so to speak, in the relationship. Maybe there's 4 people in the relationship, and like maybe 2 of them are traditional, 2 of them are or maybe 2 of them are traditional, one of them's really progressive, and then there's this partner who's like kind of on the fence, but is being influenced to think, well, maybe if I give up if I get these implants, I'll give up my traditional values, which I'm okay with. I'll get this partner's respect, and then we will be able to more equitably balance the relationship between the traditionalists and the progressives. And this could all tie into the world building that I would theoretically be doing with the Aenar and the Andorians, and carrying that forward.
And I kind of see the closing scene in this scene as, again, the person's dead, they're working on the person, and the final word that this person says to the captain is, you know what? You've made your decisions. I know you're dedicated to Starfleet. Let me make my decisions. Like there has to be some conflict between their commitment to Starfleet, saying, I'm actually not your first priority, so I don't know why you think you have so much say over me.
Oh.
Right? Cut scene. Right. All right.
And just to add the salt, like they do that, they walk out, and then the captain's like fuming and stares over at the doctor, and the doctor's like, I couldn't save Lieutenant X. Just to add the extra little thing right there.
The love dies as the person dies.
They dead.
Okay. All
Everything's dead.
So Act 2, Scene 2 would take us back to the science, no doubt, and maybe some scans from the ships to learn a little bit more about this hostile life form.
Yep.
Okay.
Back to the bridge, probably still in the EV suit.
Yep. Oh yeah, he's still partially in the EV suit.
Yeah.
Okay, so should we have the ship do a sensors plus scan to see if they can learn anything about this life form?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we're looking at sensors
Sensors plus
plus science.
science.
That's 12 target number. I rolled a 1 and I rolled a 14. So
Nice.
that is a crash
So you got a
success
momentum.
with advantage, right? Do we want to
Well,
hang
do you
on?
want to, again, I always tell people, do you want to roll on the advantage table or do you want to roll on the momentum table?
Hmm.
You have the option.
Oh gosh. It's a great point. Let's see here. Let's look at the
Momentum table is on page 275, and you get 6 options. You can either roll on which option you want or go directly to one of the options. It's advanced warning, danger revealed, friendly aliens, new technology, refuge, or trade opportunity.
don't know that any of that excites me. Let's try an advantage.
All right.
So let me go back to that table. Where is that one? That's two
Page 268.
268. Thanks.
My tabs are so cool.
268. There it is. Let's see what that does. A surprise discovery.
Oh, interesting.
But it's an advantage, so it's a positive surprise discovery, so that's good.
Like, is it something that covers for the ineptitude again, where do we discover that this was planted by a different hostile polity? Maybe whatever was in the comment came out of something like some sort of housing unit with Romulan or Cardassian, or, well, this is the Picard era, so it could be a new species, but it
Right.
somehow gives them indication that things are not as they seem, right?
Right.
What do you think the surprise discovery should be?
I think it's got to be something related to the Deckions.
Okay.
So maybe
right.
there's a um
All right. We don't have to answer it right now. Remember, we're building the frame. We're building the framework. So good. So we got a surprise discovery, something with the Deckions that links to something else, which is going to provide an advantage for them. And remember, we still have the other advantage from above, which is lucky circumstances saved for later in the story.
Yep.
Perhaps something with the Deckions gives them a chance to reset something, even maybe resurrect somebody who got killed.
I wouldn't go that far, but maybe
All
it's
right.
maybe the hostile alien species somehow got through. Maybe the Deckions weren't holding them back and they broke through, and maybe the surprise discovery is that we can restitch the Deckions and isolate the hostile life form again via the
Okay.
Deckions or time subspace or what. I mean, whatever technobabble stuff we come up with, and maybe the lucky circumstances is we kind of stumble into that and like, oh, hey, wait, we can actually fix this.
Okay, so the surprise discovery here is going to be the now we reveal there's a presence of Deckions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that would be Act 2, Scene 2, which then would make them want to need to research more about this, like almost check first contact at this point. Do they go back out as a away team this time?
I think they would, yeah, because they've still got to attempt to. I mean, maybe there's a. I mean, we didn't specify, but maybe we could fold in a ticking clock to some extent. Oh, actually, we already talked about it. That there's a limited window of opportunity for us to plant this sensor array, and if we don't get that done, then we've missed our opportunity completely.
Correct.
To load this rogue comet with the tech. So I think we make the surprise discovery, and then the captain assembles another away team and beams out there again.
Okay, man, this is going to be a much scarier away team, much more ready for this. Do we need to build any technology in Scene 3 to, like, on the EVA suits, anti-Deckion or special force field? I love the life support belt, a modified life support belt. I don't know. Should we build that out?
I guess Act 2, Scene 3 should probably be then like the engineering scene where we talk to the chief engineer and say, okay, look, we need to recalibrate our devices to detect Deckions in this hostile alien life form. Maybe the doctor's able to isolate some sort of marker that picks up these liquid aliens. So we got that going on, and then the captain probably says that we need some, talks to the security chief and says, hey, we need something to protect ourselves from this alien life form. They did the one officer dirty and killed them through their EVA suit. How are we going to protect ourselves from that? And
All
someone
right.
pulls out the old tried and true life support belts and says, well, we can adapt this.
I love it. I love it.
So we got two tasks here. We got one to do the engineering thing, and then we got
Uh-huh.
another one to do the security thing to give us some sort of protection.
Okay, so if one is going to be structure and engineering, which according to our thing would be 12, and then the other one would be, what would the other role be?
I'd say that would be like I guess weapons and security.
All right. And that's going to be
That's a 12 also.
12 also. All right.
All right, so structure and engineering, I've got a 5 and a 5, so that's a success with advantage. And then weapon security, that's a 12. I've got an 8 and a 2, so that's also a success with advantage.
All right.
Crack crew getting it done under adverse circumstances.
Exactly. Okay, so we have that advantage. Do you want to roll advantage or on a advantage, or do you want to like save it? We have two advantages you have, or two momentum. So let's go one by one because it's the game. The first one, what did you want to do with that? Did you want to roll up some equipment?
Well, we can't bank it, right? Because it's captain's log, so we don't actually get to bank it. So I would spend one of them on an advantage, and then I'd hold the other one as momentum.
Okay, so you want to roll one more advantage?
Then is an ancient discovery. Okay, sure, why not?
Makes sense.
Well, I don't know.
Well, I think you know what the ancient discovery is. The life support belt.
There you go. Says,
right?
How would we protect you while you're in an AVA? Well, hey, wait a minute. Back in the 22
there we go.
270s, they were experimenting with life support belts that would allow you to
there we go.
Portable force fields. We could adapt that by technobabble.
There you go. And that is the light. So now you have an anti-Dechion life support belt.
I mean, let's see, Picard's 2390s. Does 100 years count as ancient?
Hey, why not? I think so.
Why not?
It's captain's log. It makes sense to me that there's this huge scene where, think about it, if people were watching this TV show and we actually brought into live action a life support belt, that would make the show. That's all people would talk about after that, right? Awesome. So I think that's a great disadvantage right there.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, and then we get to save a momentum.
And then we have momentum. Yep.
Now this is going really good. I hope everyone's paying attention here, because think about it. We're coming to the end of Act 2, and think about all the danger that built up in the first act alone. And then we're into, some drama here. We're into some build. I almost feel that Act 4 should actually go back to the B story at this point, Jim. Just for Act 4, Scene 4. And then in Scene 5, we know things get really bad, right? That's our thing. So should we go back and talk a little bit more about what's going on here with the partners? I mean, we know they want to earn someone's respect and they're willing to sacrifice themselves for it.
Yeah, I get that. I wonder with that was Scene 2 where they walked out, right?
At the end of Scene 1, they walked out.
Oh, it was end of Scene 1. So then Scene 2, they do stuff. Scene 3, they're building the gear, they're getting the stuff ready. They're ready to go on the away team. Does the captain go back to the quarters before they go on the away team? Or would they keep the momentum going and just say, look, we got to get this mission done?
I would ramp the drum up that their partner is like, prove your love to me and don't go on these deadly missions. That's why you have a first officer.
Ooh.
Or if you go on this, I'm gone.
That's dirty.
I'm getting the surgery. Yeah, but that's what makes it good, is you have to have those NPCs that are totally make no sense and conflict.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. But if that scene in sickbay set them so firmly on their course, then yeah, sure, it would make sense. Maybe they catch up to the captain in the transporter room, getting ready to beam back to the ship, or maybe they just step right onto the bridge and have it out in front of everybody. Yee.
Well, here's the thing, right? In scenes like this is the point. you gotta like really push it, and this is where backstory comes in, and this is why I say this. If you were to just have this argument impromptu on this episode, people would be like, I don't understand why this character's acting overreacting. What would have to happen in almost scene 4 is this character provides good argument to show how much this character has ignored them over the years. That it's like there's multiple times I asked you to stay here, I have children, or like you actually have to show the dark side of the captain here a little bit. And that dark side is what makes the audience go, whoa, oh, okay. Even maybe that the captain is so strict and so anti about you doing anything to fix your vision impairment.
Because they're a traditionalist.
And I would put that as a value. We know we're building in as we go. So maybe the value would be added here, Jim, is about how this character is a hardliner about we're not blind, we're something. Like we see the universe differently, and that's the way I like it.
Or something like our tradition gives us our vision, or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. I love that.
Okay, I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm going to write it here too. So our tradition gives us our vision. And this is, and honestly, I'm going to tell you and this is, I'm repeating what my deaf friends have told me, because as you know, I know American Sign Language. I have a lot of deaf friends. And for many deaf is not a disability to them. Deaf is their genetic pass on. That's who they are. And they can't envision or even desire a time to hear. They feel it would change their culture. So this is very common. This is a true social thing.
Wow.
So honestly, if that argument, if remember in scene 4, if you challenge in Captain's log your values, you can get another point of momentum.
Okay.
So I almost feel like scene 4 is this argument. Our tradition gives us our vision.
Although he's not challenging it, he's holding firm to it.
That's right.
This is what I believe. But I guess,
but at the cost of losing the relationship.
Yeah, he would be challenging it because the risk is that he's losing a quarter of his family,
and possibly all of them because of it.
Oh yeah, potentially. Sure, this could be a huge rift in the relationship. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I think what would happen is in this scene, we would build the conflict of the captain's past, and maybe we find out that there's already been other Anar who have left the relationship. So this isn't the first one, maybe. So we build someone of shattered relationships based on duty. And that's the flaw of this captain, which makes us love people, right? This is making love, right? The Captain Kirk kind of thing. Okay, so so the question is, you're the captain. Do they go on the mission, or do they preserve their relationship?
Oh man,
do we roll on that?
I guess. I mean, I'd have to trust in the character to do that. Like me personally, I would.
I think we go to the yes/no probability matrix.
Oh man.
So based off what we built about this is exciting. What's the probability that they choose to go on the mission where their talent comes in, unorthodox mathematics, or they send another crew member to go?
Oh, that's great drama though, right? This is what we're near the end of Act 2, so this is like a momentous situation, right? This is
I think it's probable, based off how we're going to build up this character, that they go on the mission. Or do you think it's highly
so? But if we're framing it to where their partner says, "If you go, I'm gone," then it's, well, I mean, I guess you look at it either way. It's either highly probable, or it's either probable that he's going, or it's improbable that he's not going. I mean, it's the same thing,
right?
Okay, so I think the captain would go.
So you think it's probable? Okay.
I think given the circumstances, given that they've already lost a crew member, they're confident that they're the only person who's got the mathematics to do this right.
They have limited time,
and the entire mission could be compromised. Limited time.
Yep.
Gosh, this is so hard. This is like
this is great. Roll on the probability table. Probable or not probable. Everyone's waiting.
Yeah.
Probable. Just roll.
So it's probable that they would go.
Yeah.
And I rolled where's my dice? I rolled a 7, and that is a yes. They went. They go. So there's the scene. Yes, the captain says, "Okay, well, if you're gonna slap me with the ultimatum, I mean, whatever. I mean, this is gonna be a heck of a scene to write." But they're like, "Then I gotta go. I gotta
look at what I wrote in here."
Oh, snap.
You are more blind than I could ever have. And then all of a sudden the doors close, right? Oh man, this is good.
Yeah,
I love this captain.
Oh, this has to be on the transporter room. The captain beams away, and the partner's the last thing they see before they fade to.
Well, last thing they sense. Remember, the captain.
Last thing they sense.
Yeah. Wow, the captain's blind.
Oh, snap.
Okay, they're back going on this away mission now. All right. I think this is the point, because we're getting to the end of Act Scene 5. We've got to really show what this inept person does with the fleet formations. Right? So is it possible that this inept person signals the enemy fleet that they're installing this, that they're actually oops. We have to make it bad, Jim. There's no way of avoiding that. We got to make it bad at that scene too. So this inept person regarding fleet formations, do they reveal what they're doing? Their little insidious thing, reveal to the enemy what's going on.
Well, you say insidious. I don't think.
Okay, not insidious. You're right. They're inept.
They just bugger it up. So I think maybe they do the initial install and accidentally broadcast instead of something else, or they broadcast too early, and a patrolling enemy ship picks it up and like, hey, wait a minute, what's this?
Okay, I think that's highly probable.
Yeah,
don't you? Okay, so let's roll on the highly probable that inept signal alerts other fleet.
Yeah, so we're just gonna assume we don't need to roll a task here to see if the inept character fails or not. We're just establishing they've made a mistake, that something's gone wrong, and it's highly probable that the adversary has been tipped off to what might be going on here. So we're going to say that's highly probable, and I rolled a 17. So yes, okay, the other fleet has been alerted to something that's going on at this moment.
So how I would see the scene ending, I and you tell me what you think. I would not I would see them working on it, and the captain looks stressed out. There's maybe a conversation going on with the XO or whoever joined on the mission. Like, are you going to be okay, Captain? They're having this side conversation while they're doing their unorthodox mathematics. You have the other person, the inept person, who's working on whatever anti-sensory fields that the other fleets don't detect what they're doing until they're way off the comet. But boom, they do something wrong. Maybe the they didn't calibrate for Deckions. And of course, what's cool about the scene is they're all actually in life support belts and not EVA suits, which is totally hot. Which looks totally hot, right? So cool. Right. And so what would happen is I'd kind of have, all of a sudden a different color button going off on whatever they're doing in red, but no one really notices it. And then you zoom away from the comet, you move away from the ship, the USS Saratoga, you go through an Oort cloud, you move through a slight of a nebula, and then you have the enemy armada over there start detecting that something's going on and it's coming toward their border.
Right.
And that's where I would end the scene.
Yeah. Well, I think I would you could do that. You could also end the scene with the ship picking up the signal and going, hey, wait a minute, we're broadcasting. We're not supposed to be broadcasting, we're supposed to be receiving. And what did we do wrong?
Wouldn't that be Act 3, Scene 1?
Sure, that could be Act 3, Scene 1.
Right.
No, that works. You're right. Let's get the cool pullback and the cool, CGI shot of the ships in wherever they are. And then so that's setting the audience up to go, oh crap.
Right.
And then Act 3, Scene 1 is the opportunity for the crew to go, oh crap.
Well, and imagine, with the enemy vessels, the minute they start picking up that Federation signal, they look at the comet, they may pick up the Deckyons, they notice the comet is coming into their territory, and they may be actually thinking the Federation is building a super weapon.
Yikes.
So their paranoia is quite justified here. This was supposed to be a clandestine patrol mission, doing some science thing, and it's being taken the wrong way by these other aliens.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
My heart just broke because I accidentally almost wrote the final scene, and my heart's breaking, but I'm not going to talk about it yet. And I'm not going to talk about it yet. Anybody who knows my riff, you'll know where I'm going with this.
Oh boy.
Okay, so what do you think is Act 3, Scene 1? Oh, you're saying, do they detect that this? No, we have to roll to see if the ship detects that the other signal is out there, Jim.
Yeah,
we have to determine who gets the first hit here.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that, what would that be? Comms plus security.
Well, we're trying to detect, right?
To see if the USS Saratoga catches the inept crew member's mistake or not.
Oh, okay. I'd call that probably
comms and security,
or sensors and
well, it's a signal, right? That's being detected by other people.
Oh, okay, that's fair. So comms and I don't know, comms and engineering.
Yeah, that's fine too. Let's do it. Comms and engineering.
That's a 12. And we don't have any talents that really help us.
No, we still have a momentum left over. Remember,
we do have a momentum. So difficulty is our target number is 12. All right, so I rolled a 15 and a 4, so that was a success.
Okay. All right, so in this scene, inept crew members goof revealed. What would the captain do about that? That would be Scene 2, right?
Act 3, Scene 2. Yeah, I mean, just remedy the situation and then do everything possible to finish the stupid mission, right? Just get the thing installed in the right place at the right time. So this would be it would be a task, right? It would be...
Well, I have to ask something too. We have this hostile entity.
Yeah,
we have to. Does the hostile entity try to modify its attack?
Certainly.
Right.
It would try to break through the personal force field.
Yeah. So I think we need to roll something on that, right?
Yeah.
So would this be the captain? Like, would this be a structure plus security roll for the crew to determine how good their invention is? Should we roll on the probability matrix? Roll on a complication just for fun? This is Act 3.
Complication to what? To see if the force field holds?
I just like rolling random complications and weaving them into the story. That's what creates the random factor of a good mission.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right. You want to just roll on the complication?
Sure. Let me find that page.
It's Act 3, so I love freaking people out. So you're on page 269.
269. Sorry, I was almost there.
And notice, I want people to notice, you don't have to wait to roll a complication. To me, when things start getting a little boring, you just need to fire it up toward that last act. I just roll random complication and threat just for fun. And then make my characters get themselves out of it.
All right. So random complication was a random fail.
Was a what?
Random failure.
Everyone, come on, Jim. You know exactly what I'm thinking. What am I thinking?
I'm thinking that the life support don't work so good.
Oh gosh.
that ancient technology just shorted out or
okay.
Flickered or
so a Decyon pulse is time related. So maybe the creature was smart enough to say, let me advance time so that the power on the belts goes down faster than normal time.
Yeah, or yeah, and there's that, but maybe the hostile life form in the comet tail for so long, they have a pretty good understanding of how to manipulate Decyons. Maybe they can manipulate time so that they can like presumably, the personal force field cycles every 30 nanoseconds or something, and they can just manipulate the Decyon so they can just slip right into the force field in that infinitesimal span of time that could be like an eternity to
Oh,
them.
makes sense. Yeah. Oh, that's good. So now they're kind of under attack. Okay, now this is good because where I'm seeing this going now, Jim, is this. We know that ships cannot transport while their shields are up.
Right.
So there's no better time for the alien fleet to attack. Presuming, or at least start coming in and toward the zone. So there has to be a time factor, like you said, where there's a threat that makes the ship have to determine to defend itself, get the captain. Maybe the Deckions prevent transport while they're under attack. We have a momentum sitting there still, right? But we're in Act 2, Scene 2. So in Scene 1, Goof revealed. Scene 2, they come under attack from these creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Scene 3, the enemies have to take action. Who feel that they're being threatened, right?
Yeah, and I think their action would be, let's go check it out.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd be here that quick, though, right? They were some distance away.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the hostile life forms have an opportunity to attack while the captain is trying to install the sensor palette and complete the mission.
Okay, so should we make this an automatic? Here's the thing. We can make it an automatic. You require 2 successes and you still have a momentum to re-roll a dice.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
You want to do that? Okay, so let's see if the captain can get it done. What skills are they using?
This would have to be all pressure being what it is. I'd have to say this is probably like control plus science.
Okay, let me ask. Yeah, I think so. Can I ask you, should this be Scene 4 though?
No, it should be Scene 2 because he's gonna, or the captain's going to attempt it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got this random failure. Oh no, the random.
Well, they're under attack. Yeah, they're under attack.
Under attack. So
I almost feel that they first have to stabilize the life support belts.
Yeah. Okay. Or does the hostile life form attack? Like, are
we
in a combat situation, or are we?
Yeah, but remember how that works in Captain's log is therefore the captain rolls. If they succeed, the other entity takes a hit. If they fail, then they take some they take a hit. So really, let's determine what action the captain needs to do in this case, like, fitness and security or something to defend. You want to roll fitness plus security?
Yeah, and since I haven't defined it yet, I'll make security my next defined discipline.
There you go. And what rank
makes it a
3?
3?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So fitness is 7, security is 3. So my target number is 10. And
is this diff 2 or diff 1? Can we decide for the sake of suspense?
Well, I don't know. Fighting a liquid alien life form that
I could see it coming out too. Oh, that's
like
awesome.
Deckions. I think this is probably difficulty 2.
Okay, and you have a momentum, so hopefully you can re-roll.
All right. Well, I rolled a 3 and 12, so I'm going to spend that momentum to re-roll
the 12. Exactly, you can re-roll the 12 now.
Yep, and I got a 5. So the captain successfully manages to evade the attack or avoid or push away the liquid hostile life form, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Should we roll a 50-50 off it if any of the away team members are injured or not, or just?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay, let's do 50-50 on away team.
Let's say there's 4
any injured,
4 others on the away team, including some security goons.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to the probability matrix here. Oh wait, we don't have to. It's 50-50.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 1 is injured, number 2 is okay, number 3 is injured, number 4 is okay. So 2 injured, 2 okay. And whether they're killed or not, I think we could just figure that out later.
Yeah, that's all right. We can do that
casualties.
Later. Cool. So this fight is going on. The ship is tracking the enemy, or it's now aware that a message went out. And now the enemy fleet in Scene 3, or ship, fleet, whatever, somehow becomes acknowledged as a threat. Because again, we're in Act 3, Scene 3. We're getting close to the end here. So is this a diplomatic situation, or is this they're firing off torpedoes at this what they perceive to be a weapon because they're not sure what these signals, it's getting.
Oh gosh. Well, the captain does have diplomacy as a focus, so I think are we acknowledging that the mission's a bust, or are they going to try to complete it by installing the sensor pallet?
That's kind of fun. I like busted missions. First of all, I love when people fail. That's like real life. But it seems to me like they're going to have to prove it's not a weapon, and they were doing just simple scientific surveying, right?
Right. And they could probably finesse that because he is a science focused. I mean, the captain's science focused, and the majority of the sensor palette looks like science stuff.
So this is a collaborative game, so maybe this is the case where the XO, who's still on the bridge, actually has to roll the diplomacy.
Mm-hmm.
Sound right?
Yeah. In fact, yeah. So this could be the adversary fleet is moving toward us, and the XO needs to, because the captain's in the middle of a fight, too busy.
Exactly.
It's on you to be doing the diplomatic angle.
Yep. Okay. So in this case, XO does diplomacy. We have no momentum or anything. And right. So this is going to be, I haven't even struck up my command score yet. So my command score is going to come up at 3 at this point. And I'm not going to create a focus at this point. I don't want my XO to be big on diplomacy. That's not what they're here for. They were on the only thing they have is evacuations procedure so far. So they're going to go ahead and this would be presence plus command. Presence plus command, which means I need to get a 12. Go ahead and roll for us, Jim.
Roll for you?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah. I'm busy typing.
All right. Let's see. I got a 15 and an 18. So
oh no, this is great. I love failure. We're under attack. This is great. Oh good. Oh, this is awesome. I love stuff like this.
What are we doing? Oh,
wow,
no.
They don't believe. So act 3, scene 3. Okay, this is great because that means act 4, Jim, is time sensitive. We're about to come under attack and we're viewed as hostile with this weird comet Dekion thing that the aliens have no idea why our ship is over there corralling it to come into their system, and they can't get good readings on it because of its weird energies, right? Mm-hmm. This is great. Okay, so act 3, scene 4. Is it evacuating, doing the sensors, or evacuating back to the ship to hustle out scene 5? I mean, what is it?
I think the costs that the captain has already paid to get to this point, I think they would be determined to at least try to finish installing this stupid sensor palette.
Well, it's good because you only need to roll a 1 success based off everything we've done so far, right?
Right.
Whew. Oh, and did we use our lucky? Oh, we did use our. Wait, did we use our lucky circumstances?
We have not used our lucky circumstances yet.
Oh, this is it. Okay,
we do have that.
Okay, Dekions. This is where Dekions come in. With Dekions, if you do it right with unorthodox mathematics, you actually have all the time in the world.
Oh,
which, if I can be a good writer real quick.
Can we tie into that and reset the clock?
That, and it doesn't apply to relationships, unfortunately, which will make an amazing scene 5.
Well, it could.
Oh,
depending on what angle we want to take, it could. But okay, let's see if we can install it first. Okay. That's going to be it's got to be control and science again.
No, this has to be daring plus science. It has to be because you're doing something. Yeah, and you're doing something with Dekions to give you more time to create a little bubble for you to work in to resolve this situation.
Okay, that's fair.
Oh,
so
wow.
the target number is 12.
Okay. Let's hope you get it.
Yeah, let's see. All right, let's go see what we got here. I got a 1 and a 9.
Oh, nice. Woo! So you got momentum.
Woo!
Do you want to generate your advantage now for the benefit of the story in scene 5?
Gosh, or do I fold that momentum in with the lucky break?
That was the lucky break. You spent the lucky break coming up with the Dekion solution.
Oh yeah. Okay. Make a note that we broke through the Dekion thingy,
Yep.
whatever.
Yep. So we'll say reworked Dekions to buy more time.
And let's see, I could do an advantage or spend the momentum, right? Oops, I lost. Where's the advantage? 280.
269.
269. Sorry.
268. Yeah.
Flip through this.
That, or you could write it into narrative. Remember, you could say the advantage is you somehow reset the situation with your partner. Ooh, is that even ethical?
Sure. I mean, it's that's a great question, great conversation for that. Let's make that happen by fiat. I rework the Dekions to buy the time, to change the time. Now, the captain would be the only one who knew it, though, right?
But buy time to do what?
Well, so they successfully install the
Sensors.
sensor array that is the lucky break that they are able to control time to that they can pull it back to before the inept crew member sent off the, or even to back, maybe even back to the beginning of the mission, right? So everything that everything that happened significantly in the mission didn't happen, but the captain knows everything that happened or could have happened, and realizes I need to make some dramatic changes to me, otherwise I know what the consequences are
So,
going.
so encourage them to have the surgery on the eyes, not have the argument.
Yes, this is this. So there's two ways we could go. I mean, there's any number of ways we could go about it. What I'm thinking is we do a soft reset, right? And so the thing is, the mission is successful because he successfully installs the or they successfully install the sensor palette, but nobody got killed. There was no big blow up with the partner. The adversary fleet doesn't know what's going on, right?
Mm-hmm. Left the inept
captain,
crew member. Told the inept crew member, don't do this, do that.
Yep.
Okay.
And so at the end, so the closing scene then would be the captain having dinner with their partner, saying, "Hey, this is really hard for me, but I want to revisit our conversation about you pursuing the ocular implants and why it's important to me that you don't do it, but I'm starting to understand why it's important to you that you do it." And it could be a really hard character thing. This would be a case where they're probably going to be rewriting that value.
Wow, I love that. I love the fact that you worked the value in that, where they had to challenge it early on, risk their relationship, and in the end, go back, have a more smoother mission, and they're having this better conversation with their partner. That's a chance many people don't get.
Right. So that's the angle I was thinking that we would take on this. The other option, if you want the real, tearjerker, dark, horrible story, is that the closing scene would be everything happened the way it happened. We managed to finesse getting the fleet to go away, but the closing scene is the partner getting in a shuttle and taking off, and that's the end of that story, right? I think that would be certainly dramatic. I think that would always be the easy way out.
Well, see, the reason I like that is this, though.
Which one? The last one?
The reason I like the last one is this. So he could work, because he's into science and mission, he could work to save the ship, but he couldn't work to save the relationship, which is out of science.
Yeah, and I think if this was a one-off, I might lean toward that one. But if I want to continue this story, I would want that extra angle of. I mean, I guess it's almost, now that I think about it, it's almost like Pike knowing something from his future that he can't really do anything about, but it's there.
Yeah.
Right. And now the captain's been given a new, fresh insight into their partner, that the partner's willing to go all the way.
Yeah.
And am I so intransigent that I won't? Right. So this is a real big. I think this is a stronger character building moment for the captain than just letting the partner go off, because
I
there's
like that.
yeah.
And,
So that's
and I like that.
it.
I think it would make the people watching it love, and it's humility, which we don't see a lot of in characters sometimes, where we see that humility where they recognize, man, I got a second chance. Let me take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it is humility, because the captain's like, I totally effed up,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and I have a second chance, and that's super empathic, right? Because like, how many of us get a second chance to do something
Correct.
right? Like you normally don't, right? Like you make your mistakes and you live with it, and then you move on. Like we don't get a chance to go back and get a do-over under most circumstances. Even though some of us would really love to have a do-over on certain circumstances, but we don't get that chance because that's life. We're linear. This was his opportunity to go outside that linear
Yes.
existence, and realize that he can learn from this. And
Like
that's an
love.
important character moment.
Yeah. It's almost like the title would be love outside the lines or something, something has to be a double meaning
Yeah.
to it on it.
Yeah.
Plus they're Andorians or Anar. Okay, everybody, I hope you watch what we did.
That was a long episode.
No, but no, this episode we did it in about an hour because we were talking for a while. So in an hour, we actually outlined a story. And actually, I could take this right here and I could write an episode off of this.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Easily.
Yeah, easily in dialogue and that. And then again, notice how you have to create flaws in your character to make a story matter. All the science in the world doesn't matter. It's the B story, and then the B story and the A story intersecting at the end is sometimes the most beautiful thing you could do. There's meaning in both, right?
Yeah.
That was cool. That was cool, Jim. Good job. USS Saratoga.
Yeah, and not to riff, and not to drag this out and not to rip too further, but I had a moment while we were working through it that maybe possibly the ancient technology thing might have tied into the fact that the captain's partner was a scholar, and maybe somehow the potential solution was in the partner, and then there had to be some sort of way to fold that in, but maybe that might have been too much.
No,
But
no,
I think it
I
worked out
love
pretty well
that.
the way it did.
In fact, because they're a scholar, what I would have done if I was really writing this as an episode or a novel, I would have used that character to help delve more into the Anar, their philosophies, their culture, the history, the feeling about being blind, like they would have been one of the preeminent of their civilization, so that you understand that the captain's not dealing with someone who's just some hurt lover, that this is a person who is seeing the evolution of the culture and is trying to be forward thinking on it.
Yep.
That would create a lot of new, so that would be create very similar social impact to what we see going on in the world right now. So this person would be like I'm thinking, when I think of a character level compared to Star Trek that we see, I'm thinking of like a Sarek, or this person would be the one you'd see come back in future episodes.
Absolutely.
That would be like, no, this is the cultural ambassador for the Anar, for the Federation.
Something like that. Yeah.
That heavy of so this captain's out there exploring the galaxy and putting Starfleet before family, and this person is more concerned about the heritage of their people and the evolution of their species
and being progressive. Yeah, absolutely.
That would be a fascinating character. I could just see them regal in robes, and you want to just learn more about their relationship over the past. I would dig them in deep.
Yeah, and that's a lot of great opportunity for world building and culture building, and getting deep into the Anar and into the Andorians and what makes them tick and all the complications around that.
Yeah, and I would pivot the Exo, who's a Talaxian. Of course, we know Talaxians have gone through a lot. They've had to adapt a lot in order to survive. And I would have a lot of deep conversations between the captain and the Exo and other characters who actually love the scholar characters. Like, let them do what they want. And the doctor being like, you have to give people their rights. And like that would be a whole juxtaposition.
It's the tradition.
Yeah, and the thing is, isn't that true when you're at work? Sometimes you're thinking about your relationship. So he's out there on a comet trying to do the sensitive operation, and yet there's all this drama and emotion going on around them. That's real life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and he's trying to be, he's trying. In fact, unorthodox mathematics might be the name of the episode, Jim. Because it would apply also to relationships, right?
It does. You could make it work.
Yeah. All
easily.
right. Okay, everyone. There you go. So we've had lessons learned playing Captain's Log, how best to play it to get through it. That would have been an hour of me sitting around just bullet pointing. But do you notice I have the story? We have the story, we have the narrative in mind. We went through and rolled through all the challenges, and now we would go back up and fill it all in. So that's my preferred way of play now, actually. And it's even more fun doing with a friend because
Mhm.
you're both building a story. And I think this is just a cool way to sit around a fire and tell stories. You know, I think it's
And admittedly, this is not that I didn't have fun doing it the other way, but this is way more fulfilling because we actually finished it in,
correct.
hour and change. We finished it. We didn't have a 2 month gap. We didn't have to go through all the
Right.
cycles. It's like, oh, we have a complete finished episode outline.
Mhm.
If we were in a writer's room, we'd have the complete beat outline done on the wall. It's like it's ready
Oh,
to go right. We can go to
yeah,
our computer now and go write the script
that's
and
right.
hack out the draft. We've got a full blown story here. We can clean up the details later, but
Exactly.
we've got it. We got the beginning, the middle, the end.
That's cool. That's so cool. Okay, so in future episodes of the USS Saratoga, I think that's what we're gonna kind of do, Jim,
Yeah.
is we're just gonna do it this way. And I gotta say another thing that we did, which makes me so happy, we didn't fire a phaser. And though there was a potential for ship to ship battle, there was none, and it wasn't needed to create suspense in this show. Isn't that great?
Yeah, it's great. And we have an opportunity. We can kind of play with what did that combat with the liquid life form look like as it
Yeah.
penetrate the personal force field. That we can have some fun with that.
Yeah, and we brought in a trope. We brought in some tropes. We brought in the trope of the life belt, right, which is an old style technology, and the trope of the alien entity. So we really made it Trekky that way,
Mhm.
which I thought was really cool. And this was a patrol game. Our mission on this one was just simple: setting up sensors for patrol.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
that was awesome.
And
Okay,
it would be super easy to turn this into a mission brief
super
because
easy
all the
actually.
pieces are there.
You're right. So easy.
We could even blow it out into a full blown mission, but we don't
Yeah.
need. I mean, this is just how you do. You go through Captain's Log. But I like this. I like this format. I think I'd like to explore this again.
Okay, we will. We will definitely more Adventures of the USS Saratoga. I want to encourage people too. If you saw, if you're playing a game, sometimes it's hard to get characters, meaning player characters, to have conflict that's as riveting. The power of the NPC is having an NPC come on and misbehave, take an extreme view, and hopefully you can make it so it's a view that challenges some people's values but not everyone's values, so maybe you get the conflict between the crew discussing stuff. So I in my game we really use a strong NPC in every single story, and so this shows you create a strong NPC to really get your player characters engaged. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Time for gratitude. My gratitude is going to go again, thinking about Captain's Log. If you go on to continuing missions and you type in Captain's Log Zine, Zine, you're going to see some fantastic tools that people have been building so that you can better track and journal your games. So some sheets some people have done that they've used, that they've shared. So again, go on to continuing missions, type in Captain's Log, and take a look at some of these cool sheets just for note taking. So you saw me taking notes today. They actually have better looking notes. If you were watching the video, I was sharing screen the whole time, but they have other note-taking tools there that can enhance your game. So thank you. This comes from somebody who's called That Walsh Guy. They have a website where they do all kinds of different cool RPG stuff, but That Walsh Guy's website provides those tools. So thank you, super fans, for doing that. How about you, Jim? Take us out.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody who's been publishing Captain's Log stories, Captain's Log reviews on social media, all the different kinds of social media. Even now, 4 months after the book is or the game is released, we're still getting coverage and still getting press and still getting lots of fans out there playing the game, enjoying the game, etc. By the time this airs, I'm guessing we're going to be
Yeah, this
December-ish.
is going to air this is going to end of November, this layer.
Okay, so by the time this airs, I think the reprint will be very close to hitting American shores. I'm not sure about the timing because it's still a little squishy right now because of the boat. But the reprint, you can go pre-order the reprint, so it's available again for sale. But I'm gratified to everybody who's been continuing to post reviews and actual plays, right? Especially the actual plays, because people are clearly still playing this game, enjoying it, digging it, finding new ways to play with it, finding new tools to add to it to even expand the scope of it, like you were talking about earlier. So thanks to all of them. And then, of course, thanks to the fans. Of course, we wouldn't have made this game without you. We wouldn't be continuing Star Trek Adventures without you. So gratitude to the fans and how supportive they are of each other. I say it all the time, but it never hurts to repeat it because I see it every week on the Facebook group, on the Reddit, on the Discord, etc. New fans are coming into this game every day. And not just Captain's Log, but Star Trek Adventures. And it's super gratifying to see conversations happening independently of anybody from Modiphius, sticking their nose into it. So thanks, everybody. Really appreciate you all being along for the ride.
All right, fantastic. Until next time, IDIC.
Live long and prosper. Be safe, be well. We'll talk to you all next time.